You're watching Biz One-on-One with Randy Lennon.
Joining us now on Biz One-on-One is Brad Trumble. He's the CFO of Visland Media. And Brad, you come to Visland Media after being out of the media business for a few years, but you're actually a pioneer in the whole cable world. So tell us a little bit about your history
Well,
with
everyone
television.
has a claim to fame, right? I like to think that we all have those little markers on the wall that we like to say those are the things that we're somewhat famous for. One of them I think that everyone can relate to is the fireplace you see on television. It was actually invented.
When you say the fireplace, you're talking about at Christmas. I mean, we're in Canada here, and Christmas comes along, and now it's become a tradition. You turn the TV on and put the fireplace on, but this is now all over the world.
It's an idea that took off. And what it came down to is people at the cable television channel in Edmonton wanted to have that time off on Christmas Day. No one wanted to be there to plug tapes, because this is what you had to do back in the day, was line up your 3/4-inch tapes one after the other and play your programs.
Now this goes back to when you were a programming director of a community access television
station, Videotron Cable in West Edmonton.
Okay.
So the guys came up with a brilliant idea that said, look, I'm going to videotape my fireplace at home. They put it on a 1-hour, 3/4-inch tape, which in truth was about 59 minutes long. They'd put the tape in to a VTR. This thing would run as 59 minutes, and then it would take 2 minutes to rewind and start again.
Now what happened now when people tuned in to Channel 10 and they look and they go, this is just a fireplace?
Well, it was so cute. We got people writing us letters, because you wrote letters back then, saying, what's coming up next? And then we had all these, how about an aquarium? How about an aquarium of fish? It was an interesting idea. So we did I thought some leading edge kind of ideas back in the day.
Now this fireplace story, that's become, a standard thing now around the world at Christmas time. And of course now there's so many unlimited channels. You can actually have a channel
devoted
just for the fireplace for Christmas. In Visland Media right now, in the distribution side of the business, there is a whole series about cats. Do you know about this?
Yes.
So this has become standard fare. So what is this series?
Well, unbelievable. There's a whole series devoted to nothing but, yes, absolutely, the antics and the uniqueness that cats do. I mean, let's think about this. The #1 YouTube video being posted is all things cats. Cats do weird things. So this is obviously playing into that. I mean, this is the world that we have today of the universe of programming, is you can get just about anything that your heart desires. And even within the Visland Media of programming is a real broad, it really demonstrates a broad base of programming. Again, this is they call it non-scripted programming. This is almost like reality TV to that extent. It's very broad and very wide, and I think appeals to a huge audience. Is this going to be main run television material? Perhaps not, but there's always a home for that type of programming. People are always interested in that type of thing. I mean, even to watch yourself, there is the gravitation at home. Do you always want to watch the top-rated #1 programming, or are you pulled away occasionally by the Discovery Network, the History Channel, the Travel Channel? These are the things that are showing. This is what we saw back in the day when cable television first evolved, that cable really initiated that and brought that window of musical programming, visual programming, to the world.
You're a business guy. You've got your MBA, and you're also an accountant, and you've also been the president of this company within a large corporation, and you've also been in an entrepreneurial world. What do you see? Like, what's coming next? How do businesses adapt?
That's a very large and very involved question, but there's really, in my mind, sort of two parts to it: delivery or content. So you're either in the business of finding unique ways of getting what it is that you want to people, or you are what they want. You are the content side. They used to talk about this when websites first evolved, that everybody had to have content. I mean, in other words, they had to have a reason to go there.
Yeah.
And they talked about richness. That was a key word, was richness of content. Is there stuff that's valuable? Is there any reason for me to even go to your website? So I think you're either in the business of developing content, developing material, giving stuff to people that are looking for it, or you're on the delivery side. You're making it easier for people. You're driving trends. You're driving this stuff towards people.
And in this new world, in the television world, the quote-unquote television world, because what is it now? Is it, when I watch on my phone a YouTube video, I'm not really watching television, but it kind of is television. Like it's, or how about if I watch an NFL game, which is the highest quality of production value, and some of the most expensive content licenses, and I pay a fee or I participate in whatever it is, NFL Network, and I'm watching it on my phone, or I'm watching highlights of it. Is it television, or what is it? Like, so even to even say, is Visland a television company? What do you think?
No, but Visland is in the content business, because we're going to drive ourselves out there in that context, because where you get it, I mean, we're old enough to recall, we think linearly too much.
Right.
And it's nothing personal, but maybe against your age, but we think linearly. We think of the cable-driven subscription. We think of the television delivery. But you just mentioned several random access ways of being able to establish yourself with the same content, thanks to off-air, thanks to the internet. But again, it's going to come down to, why am I doing that? Because I want to see the content. I want to see the NFL game. I want to see the video on cats. And so Visland is perfectly placed as a gatherer of content and as a potential creator of content to play well within that game, because there's always going to be that demand for programming. People are going to want it and they're going to access it.
In the early days when you and I were first getting in the business, there was a quote, "Content is king." And it's never been more true than today with the unlimited distribution capabilities of all these different ways of delivering content. So great to get a little bit more of your insights. Brad Trumble, the CFO of Visland Media. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
You're watching Biz One-on-One.
You think you know The Brick? Sure, everyone knows The Brick is the place for the guaranteed lowest prices on home furnishings. But do you know how we do it? Buying power, that's how. The Brick has over 200 locations across Canada, with over 7 million square feet of showrooms. That means we buy a lot of stuff from all over the world. And the more we buy, the more you save. The Brick. Saving you more. That's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Wonder lives in you. It's the moments that capture you and make you feel alive, leaving you breathless, wanting more. Feed your imagination, because some things are worth dreaming about, and some things are worth living. Rediscover your wonder.
Every time I come in, Chris always follows up with me, always asks me how my service was, if there's anything that they could have done better. He makes me feel really important.
You're not going to get treated better. The work done was awesome, but I thought that the personal touch and the service, Chris was always top-notch.
We've met new employees, and if I go back the next time, they know who we are. Whenever I take our cars in, I feel like I'm someone special. They treat me extremely well.
You're watching Biz One-on-One.
Steve Harvey is the founder and CEO of Business Finders Canada, which is a commercial brokerage for buying and selling businesses that's rolling out right across the country right now. We're going to find out the top 5 myths. Steve is going to share with us the top 5 myths about buying and selling a business. Steve, welcome to Biz One-on-One. And you're quite a character. You've got quite an interesting background yourself and being involved with a number of different businesses, including your own airline in your early 20s, I think it was. So I'd like to talk about your business from a perspective of growing your own business. You're about to franchise, you're in the process of franchising Business Finders Canada right out across the country. Tell us about how that came about.
Well, Business Finders Canada came about in an idea that I had back in about 2007, and then it actually conceptualized, and we had our first office open up in 2009, and that was me, just by myself.
So you were basically the proverbial one-man show, and now it's grown into a company that is expanding across the country. You were at that time the go-to guy if I have a business I'm thinking I want to get out, or if I'm a person that's thinking I want to buy a business. So you're the person that brings it all together. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we put the buyer and the seller together. As far as we know, there's not another company that does what we do at the level that we do it at, and we didn't get there overnight. It's been 7 years now of learning, going through mistakes, understanding how to work with a buyer, understanding how to work with a seller. Buyers, have their own ideas when they come, when they come to the table. A lot of times they inquire about a business, and it's actually not a fit for them. So we actually move them into something else. And with the seller, we work with a seller who has an idea of what they think their business is worth, and we take them through the process of evaluation and help them understand, here's what their company is worth and what we can do with it.
So your type of business, a business brokerage, is actually quite advanced, for example, in the US and other parts of the world, Europe. It's amazing that there's so few business brokerages, or you're saying none, that do it to the level that you do in Canada. So there's the opportunity. 89% of companies are in this small, medium-sized space, and you provide that service. So it's time to roll it out across Canada. How are you doing it?
Well, here's a stat. The average baby boomer right now, or the baby boomers are between 52 years of age to 70. Okay, so they're the majority owners of these businesses.
Right.
So these business owners over the next 5 years, so at any given time, about 18% of businesses are for sale in the market.
Wow.
Okay.
And in most cases, they're not even using a business brokerage.
Right. Well, 80% of businesses that are on the market for sale don't sell.
Right.
So you've got a large portion of people that are going to have to sell their business, pass it down to a family member, sell it to a partner, or just blow away in the wind. So if they're not prepared, what's going to happen to their business? So 42% of businesses over the next 5 years are expected to come onto the market. And over the next 10 years, strictly due to baby boomers, we're talking 70% of all businesses in all sectors.
70% of businesses are going to change hands in the next 10 years. What a huge business opportunity for you.
Absolutely. So Business Finders Canada has developed systems, proper opportunities. We've fine-tuned everything over the last number of years. And so we're just getting ready to launch across Western Canada and into Eastern Canada.
So let's talk about what we promised to share with our viewers, the top 5 myths about buying and selling a business.
Sure, yep. So there's a lot of myths out there. You can go online and read about all kinds of things about selling businesses. But the number one reason is, my company's ready to sell. But if you haven't prepared your business, if you haven't gone through your financials, your business isn't ready to sell. Just
because your business is going along fine, it doesn't mean to say it's easy to sell.
That's right, yeah. The second myth is, I've got a lot of time. Well, 10 years can go by very, very quickly in a business. And again, if things happen.
So in other words, I'm in my early 60s. I don't need to think about this for another 2-3 years. Whereas you're saying maybe there's some work to do in advance of setting yourself up to, so you get the most value for your business.
That's right, and businesses don't generally sell overnight. Sure, some can sell quickly, but on average, the average business takes somewhere, the small business takes somewhere between 7 to 9 months to sell, and a larger business can take 12 to 24 months. So you've got to start preparing, we like to see at least 2 years before that. I can sell my business myself.
That's a myth.
That's a myth. Again, only 20% of businesses out there that are up for sale actually sell.
And then oftentimes they don't get the kind of value that they could have gotten with a little bit of help.
That's right. And it's super important to understand the valuation part of it. How you're going to take yourself out of your business and deal with all the unqualified buyers. We've seen business owners try to sell their business and they get caught up in with a buyer that's not financially qualified or qualified at all, and it strings them. They get strung along for 6, 7, 8 months before they realize that this person can't buy the business.
Right. It's a little more complex than a basic real estate transaction. So I think you've said 3 myths. Two
Yeah,
more.
2 more. I'll get the asking price I'm asking. So you know what? There's negotiation involved. And the price for your business, generally we see out there, of course, every once in a while you can get exactly what you're asking, but you need to be prepared to get somewhere around 90% of your asking value because people are looking to negotiate.
Yep.
And then you know what? The buyer's financing is not my problem as a seller.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I can understand that. Yeah. But if you eliminate, if you have your business for sale and you're only interested in the people who can write you a check out of their own cash, you're very much limiting your prospective customers.
Yeah, a lot smaller portion, and even people that do have the money, they like to sometimes keep the owner involved or do what's called some vendor take-back financing, just so that they can keep that person engaged until the proper transition happens to that new owner.
I mean, you even say the word vendor take-back, EBITDA, these terms that are used in the business of selling businesses. Hey, just because I own a business doesn't mean I have a clue of what vendor take-back is. And that is exactly why someone that's selling a business or buying a business would want to talk to a business broker.
You're 100% correct, because the bank is looking for generally someone to help with the process, and that vendor take-back financing, it just means that the owner is going to hold some of the money through the transition or even over a period of time until that new owner takes full control of that business.
Steve Harvey, making a difference for all these thousands of people across the country that are going to be involved in buying and selling businesses over the next few years. Congratulations, Steve. Thanks
Randy,
for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
great to have
time.
you on the show.
You're watching Biz One-on-One.
You think you know The Brick? Sure, everyone knows The Brick is the place for the guaranteed lowest prices on home furnishings. But do you know how we do it? Buying power, that's how. The Brick has over 200 locations across Canada, with over 7 million square feet of showrooms. That means we buy a lot of stuff from all over the world. And the more we buy, the more you save. The Brick. Saving you more. That's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Wonder lives in you. It's the moments that capture you and make you feel alive, leaving you breathless, wanting more. Feed your imagination, because some things are worth dreaming about, and some things are worth living. Rediscover your one.
Meet Andre. He's the founder of a new craft brewery. Andre has had early success with his company, but now he needs investors to help him grow his business and take it to the next level. This is where Front Funder comes in. You see, at Front Funder, we approach investing differently. We connect Andre to people like you and Mike, a craft beer enthusiast. By investing in Andre's company, Mike can continue to enjoy his craft beer while owning a piece of his favorite brewery. Then there's Kathy. She's a professional investor looking to diversify her portfolio. She also sees the potential for financial return in Andre's company. So Kathy invests through Front Funder. Front Funder enables you to support businesses you believe in. We screen all of our companies and perform an in-depth review, helping you make an informed investment decision. We make online investing simple and accessible to everyone. Select your favorite company, pay for your shares, and become an owner. It's that simple. An online investment experience from start to finish.
You're watching Biz One-on-One with Randy Lennon.
Grant Powell is a lifelong entrepreneur. He's been involved in all kinds of businesses, import, export. He's been in the construction business, you name it, and now he's an independent mortgage broker. And today we're going to talk to Grant about the whole world of mortgages and for even teenagers and millennials. And he's going to share with us the top 3 tips on how kids can become financially secure. So welcome back.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you, Grant. And you're on to your 2nd book.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
We introduced you a few months ago, and you're working on this book. So this is Thinking Outside Your Bank. What is that all about?
Well, it's about there's so many different lenders out there besides just going to your bank. And with the recent mortgage tightening regulations, it's further important to find out all your options before getting into a mortgage. So it's totally thinking outside your bank, but on a positive way, because in the media there's been a lot of negative sort of things of what you can't do.
Right.
When you're thinking outside your bank, you find out all the possibilities that you can do.
So this second book is focused on young people. So
Yes.
even teenagers should be thinking about getting a mortgage. Millennials, I get it. Don't all millennials just have their parents buy them a house?
Well, they wish, right? But yeah, no, it's so important for teens, as early as teens, to sort of understand the credit process. I've been involved with Teen Global Wealth, which is the same sort of thing, helping teens around the world with trying to narrow down what it takes to start getting those good habits of saving first before you spend, so on and so forth. So it starts early.
And when I'm 60 years old, so when I went to school, there was no such thing as, we didn't learn anything about how to handle our finances. It's my understanding now that they're starting to teach some financial wellness or financial understanding to young people. So that's a big part of what this book is about.
Yes, it's because of the fact that the financial world is always changing, so it's getting tougher and tougher. So in the schools, yeah, they can sort of start tapping in on that, but it's when rules keep changing, it's really tough for the schools to sort of teach that. So I feel it's my duty as an industry professional to give this information that's current so that the kids and the millennials and everybody else can sort of try to understand what is needed upon them to sort of get a mortgage, what's asked upon them to get a mortgage.
Because even as a teenager in junior high, high school, with a job, if you start to build up good spending, saving habits, get a credit card. Like as soon as you're able to get a credit card or even use your parents' credit card and get used to the whole process.
You can even have your child on as an authorized user on your credit card from as young as 10 years old.
Really?
They can be an authorized user, yes. So they'll have their own code and they can go and make purchases, and then when you get your monthly statement, you can go through the statement and find out which things they bought, and then those kind of habits of seeing the monthly statement and then have your child give you the funds for those purchases they made, or of course if you're going to give one as a gift, right? To your child. But that kind of helps kids get used to sort of paying with credit, but then realizing they have to have the money available at the end of the month to pay for those expenses they put on the credit card.
So we promised our viewers that you would give us the top 3 tips on how to help your teens move towards financial security.
First, teens need to realize how to save and understand saving before you understand spending.
That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. And it's not just teenagers, by the way.
Yes, exactly, but it starts then. So it's to get those habits where you're
Paying yourself first.
Yeah, paying yourself first. And have those teens, whether they're doing chores or doing part-time work, making sure that they're making the money first and then using that credit card to pay it off at the end of the month.
So teens towards financial independence, number 2.
And yeah, understanding the credit process. So it starts at an early age. So it's about paying that credit card off 100% every month. And with parents going with their teens and showing them, okay, if you don't pay that credit card off 100%, you only make the minimum payment. This is the interest you're throwing away, right, every month, right? And it's going to compound, right? And it's not going to help your score as well. So it's going through that process and sitting them down every month and showing these are the bills that we have to pay. This is the money that's going out. This is the money that's coming in, and getting those habits early on.
Number 3.
The third thing is those discussions. They go from there on how to establish credit, but it's great if you can keep that going. I have so many clients that keep that going with their kids to saying, hey, I realize it's really tough out there. The real estate market is not going down. My plan is to actually help you with your first home, whether it's to go on as a co-applicant or give you a gift towards your down payment. But the main thing is you want to see that inspiration from your kids that want to build their credit so they get good credit, obtain a good career, and have that financial stability. And third thing is to show that they've been saving. They haven't been living outside of their means.
One last thing we'll end with is the concept that I may want to help my kid, my child that maybe just got married or is get together with someone to get into his first home, because the home ownership is a big part of building financial security.
Yes.
And guess what? I don't have that check available. I don't have that easily accessible funds to help with that down payment. Or maybe I go co-sign on their mortgage. I can maybe access working with a mortgage broker to take some money out of my own house.
Yes, and it's looking at the overall picture. Like, is this property that you're going to buy, is that investment property, or is it just simply to raise a family, or it's the first step? Yeah, there's all sorts of, by looking at the full picture, because sometimes, you might not want to cash in your long-term investments because for tax purposes, right? To give that gift to your child, then all of a sudden at the end of the year you've got a huge tax increase, right? So sometimes
if you borrow the money out of your own equity in your house, could be a better way.
Well, it's tax-free.
Learned a lot today, Grant, and congratulations on both books, and thanks for coming for your second visit.
Thanks.
On Biz One-on-One.
Thanks so much.
If you or someone you know would like to be featured on Biz One-on-One, contact Cooper Simpson at cooper@vislandmedia.com.
Meet Andre. He's the founder of a new craft brewery. Andre has had early success with his company, but now he needs investors to help him grow his business and take it to the next level. This is where Front Funder comes in. You see, at Front Funder, we approach investing differently. We connect Andre to people like you and Mike, a craft beer enthusiast. By investing in Andre's company, Mike can continue to enjoy his craft beer while owning a piece of his favorite brewery. Then there's Kathy. She's a professional investor looking to diversify her portfolio. She also sees the potential for financial return in Andre's company. So Kathy invests through Front Funder. Front Funder enables you to support businesses you believe in. We screen all of our companies and perform an in-depth review, helping you make an informed investment decision. We make online investing simple and accessible to everyone. Select your favorite company, pay for your shares, and become an owner. It's that simple. An online investment experience from start to finish.